Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel. And today I have another Down the Rabbit Hole book box to share with you that has been sent to me for review. In case you've missed it, and I don't know how you would if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, I've been slowly trying to catch up on all of my book boxes. I let about a year and a half sort of collect in two big piles beside me, but we are getting there. We're getting so close on getting caught up by the end of the year. I am going to leave the last quarter of this particular subscription for the new year, and then hopefully I will just be sharing one with you each month. So if you are a subscriber, we can kind of read along together, which I think will really be fun. But the one that I have to share with you today is the March box. Now this box is actually a little bit of a darker blue for whatever reason, and it got pretty banged up, but I do think it is a really pretty logo that they have. The box is $49.99 per month. That does include the shipping in the US, and of course I have a code for you. It's Noelle15. That will save you 15% on your first box. And again, just a little caveat, just a little warning, in case you couldn't tell by that really pretty floral design and the sort of whimsical title from Alice in Wonderland, this is really darker reads, and that was definitely the case with the March selection. It was a dark read. I mean, it just like kind of smacked me in the face with the opening pages. I was like, really? This is how we're starting? Okay, good to know. So the book that is was the topic was Brother by, I believe her name is Anya Alborn. So it, you know, you can kind of see it's just got this like a rusty lock. It's a little scary. But what I do with these is I go ahead and I'll read the blurb on the back so you get a good idea. You can decide if you want to add it to your TBR pile. With books like this, sometimes the passages that I read that go along with the corresponding gifts that come along with the book, sometimes there are going to be some spoilers. I try to usually sort of limit it so that it won't really take away from your reading of the book, but just in case this book happens to be on your TBR pile, or you also have this Down the Rabbit Hole book box to dive into later, you might want to hold off on watching this video. Now, some of the other really fun things that we will get are kind of more bookish, and don't worry you guys, even though sometimes the reads are very dark, even kind of gory, the items themselves are not. They're usually really usable lifestyle items. I always think how she interprets them is very fun. So this time around, the theme, so there's usually hints in social media. She doesn't like just tell you what the title of the upcoming book is, even though you can reach out and ask about it, was I Am My Brother's Keeper. So when you have just a single word title, it's hard to like not give it away, but definitely makes sense. It is definitely about familial relationships and the brother. And you have to kind of realize by the end of the book, you're like, oh, okay, it's about this brother, or it's about this brotherly relationship, or this, you know, you're not sure which brother they're actually talking about. So I won't say much more. They do give us a QR code to find out more about, you know, just reviews. It's like in the past, the little brochure has actually included little snippets of reviews, but of course you can just go to Goodreads to find that. But it does give us March book and author facts. So it tells us that she was born in Poland. This is her 10th title, I believe. So it just says, each month we include a combination of packaged, unpackaged, bookish gifts and items mentioned or connected to that month's book. So each gift arrives in your box individually wrapped, boxed, or packaged, and assigned with a gift number. As you read your book, you will find carefully placed stickers through the pages, prompting you to open your specific gift. So of course, the best experience is when you don't peek. I have peeked because I've taken photographs of all of these boxes ahead of time, but it is still kind of a surprise to me because sometimes it's not clear to me, even once I'm a few pages in, what the connection is to those gifts. And then I'll get to the page and be like, oh, that makes sense now. Okay. All right. I see that. So we did get a nice little bookmark that does have a quote. It says, some people get addicted to feeling bad because whenever they feel good, they feel guilty. And if you guys can kind of see faintly, there's like a finger sticking up from the dirt there. A little creepy, definitely a little creepy. We also got Experience Books Through Sound, a QR code for a playlist to go along with, which I think is a nice thing. I personally can't read music when I am reading. I just get too distracted because I'll really like immerse myself in the music. I think if it doesn't have lyrics, that helps. Or with a book like this, I could just get too scared, even though this is like the creepy season. It's spooky season. I get it. This is the perfect time for me to be catching up on this book subscription, but I'm kind of ready to spread them out a little bit more because it's been a lot. And this was a particularly dark one. I was just like, oh my goodness. There were definitely pages where I was like, what? Did that just happen like that quickly? You just, sometimes even books can be just as surprising as watching a movie or something on television. So a little extra that we also got that was not wrapped up was from Door County. We got some gourmet cocoa in double fudge, which of course, again, this was the March box, but I'm pretty happy to be getting this in the fall winter season because some hot cocoa to sweeten an otherwise very sour reading experience is always kind of nice. So I was just making sure that this was the March one. So I was like looking for my notes. So let me go ahead and read it to you. So, a brand new novel of terror of a young man determined to break from his family's unconventional and deeply disturbing traditions. So, deep in the heart of Appalachia stands a crooked farmhouse miles from any road. The Moros keep to themselves, and it's served them well so far. When girls go missing off the side of the highway, the cops don't knock on their door, which is a good thing, seeing as to what's buried in the Moros' backyard. But 19-year-old Michael Morrow isn't like the rest of his family. He doesn't take pleasure in the screams that echo through the trees. Michael pines for normalcy, and he's sure that someday he'll see the world beyond West Virginia. When he meets Alice, a pretty girl working at a record shop in the small nearby town of Dahlia, he's immediately smitten. For a moment, he nearly forgets about the monster he's become, but his brother Rebel is all too eager to remind Michael of his place. So I was like, really? His brother's name is Rebel? His name's really Ray, but they call him Rebel or Reb. So yes, those are the brothers, so you have to figure out which brother it is, and yeah, it's a very sordid family, which you have to, like, each time you hear about another character, you're like, oh, she's the one that's behind this, or he's the one that put her up to it, or this is the really disturbed one. They're all disturbed, every single one of them. So there's not a likable character in here. I mean, I guess except for Michael, because he's like the victim in many ways, but he does some terrible, terrible things that still can't be justified. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. This time around, we had 4 gifts, and I will show them to you. They were kind of spread out funny. Like, we had one on page 5, one on page 25, and then 91, and then not all the way until 275. So there was definitely a big dry spell of no gifts, which, now I'm spoiled, and I expect gifts to be on every page, which is going to really change my reading experience when I get into the rest of my TBR pile that's not associated with a book box. I've gotten spoiled, you guys. All right, so this is what the little sticky notes look like. It says open gift 1, and then of course we have gift 1. See, even the gifts themselves look a lot happier. I guess those could be blood spots, right? So let's see. Let's see. So Michael, one of his sister's names is Misty. Misty kept as much distance between herself and Mama's hobby as she could, but it didn't keep her from partaking in the spoils. She hated the screaming and all the blood, but she loved the shiny things the girls left behind. Rings and bracelets, necklaces and earrings. She had a whole collection of artifacts hoarded in her top dresser drawer. Michael smuggled the jewelry into Misty Dawn's pockets when Mama wasn't watching, and in exchange, Misty let him use her record player whenever he wanted. So she likes ABBA. So this is what we got. So we got a little artifact from one of the unwitting victims. You guys, that was page 5, so it's not like they keep the family's wrongdoings a secret. Like, you are brought into this family right away. I'm not spoiling anything. Like, that happens right off the bat. So we got this cute little, I think it's like a bracelet, because it's not as stretchy as a hair tie. So I thought maybe it was a hair tie, but see how it slides like this? So it's more of a bracelet, which I thought was kind of interesting. But you could use it to bind other things. Like, you could use it to put together a bunch of pens or pencils or something. I thought it was interesting though. But it's I guess you could use it as a hair tie if you wanted to, and then pull this tight. Maybe you could do that and then pull it tight after the fact. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never seen a hair tie like this, but since they didn't mention hair ties and they just mentioned all the bits and baubles, I figured maybe it was supposed to be more like a bracelet. So I'm trying to see, does it even fit over my hand? It definitely fits over my hand. Oh, it seems like it pulls even further. Bracelets are always tricky, you guys. So I need some help to tie that tighter. There we go. So here it is. Nice dark crimson cranberry color. But then you've got these little things hanging out. So you guys, if you know, is this supposed to be a hair tie and I just don't know how to use it? Let me know in the comments below. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to page 25. this book just gets darker and deeper as it goes. And like the ending, like kind of, the ending, I don't know how I felt about the ending. I did want a little more. I did want a little more. But I guess that's a good sign of a good book, that it leaves you wanting more. So let's see. Where's this part? All right. So we're back to Misty again. So they're in the kitchen. Let's see. The hiss of metal against rock mingled with the sizzle of frying food. Misty was working on a new macrame project. Currently, she was wild about making plant hangers and wall decorations. She'd knotted together a belt to wear with her various hippie skirts and had recently completed a hobo bag with tassels so long they nearly swept the ground when she walked. Michael approached the table, pulled the ring from his pocket, and covertly dropped it into Misty's lap. Her eyes lit up, but she said nothing. Rather, she moved her macrame over it and continued to work. So Michael really does try to take care of his sister, often without much success, because they really do abuse they abuse women, period, even if they happen to be the daughters of this family. So this was gift number 2. And I was like, I'm guessing we got something that's like macrame. Let's see if I can pull this sticker back up. So I was kind of hoping for like a wall hanging or some kind of macrame, but what we got was her hippie hobo bag, which is cool. It doesn't have the tassels that hang down all the way to the ground, which I was kind of happy with. It does have this tassel right here, but it's just kind of got this like, it's like a raffia material, right? So it's woven, it's kind of squishy, kind of beachy. It's got this little zipper pouch on the top. It's a pretty small opening, but you could definitely use this. It's a kind of a good like little festival bag, just a really simple lining in there. It does have like a little slip pouch. You know, not like super expensive or anything, but it's pretty cute and definitely usable, like I said, for a festival, because it does have like a nice long crossbody strap. It's not adjustable. If you wanted to adjust it, you would have to like do that thing where you like tie it in a knot, but that can look really cute too. I'm really glad that it didn't have the fringe, and I thought the color, this natural color and weave, was really nice. So not quite macrame, because it's not that like cotton cord, but it is kind of looks like a macrame bag. So that made sense to me as a gift, and a useful one. You guys can see, for example, that, you know, not all the gifts are as dark as the items that are in the books, or the images that are in the books that will, this one kind of gave me nightmares. I'll tell you guys. I was listening to part of the audiobook for it because I was doing some tasks and I just wanted to get a little further in the book, and it was a little creepy. So I went back to reading it because it was less creepy that way. All right. So on page 91, Michael rushed out of the Olds. They have an old car, Oldsmobile. It says, hopped up the back porch stairs and stepped into a kitchen heady with the scent of garlic and onions. Mama was standing over a pot at the stove, stirring something with a long aluminum camping spoon. She glanced over to Michael, but didn't speak until Rebel followed him inside. Dinner's at 6, she told them, then turned back to her cooking. Michael darted out of the room and all but leapt up the stairs to get to Misty Dawn's room with Alice's record beneath his arm. So we heard about Alice, the girl from the record store. So he has this new record to listen to. And then, of course, we heard Rebel. Rebel actually introduces him to Alice because he is sort of dating one of the girls at the record store as well. So we got gift number 3, which is in this like lemon mailer. And I was like, sometimes the mailers I feel like kind of go with the book. In this case, there was no real significance about it except it had to do with food. So we didn't get an aluminum camping spoon, but we got a wooden spoon. It's kind of more of a decorative one, and I thought this was interesting. So again, it's this carved wooden spoon with a quote from a fictional character, Hannibal Lecter. It says, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti, like the most like famous one, right, from Silence of the Lambs. So here is, it almost looks like an extended pineapple, right? But it's actually a really pretty wood. It kind of makes sense to me that they would have like a rustic serving spoon like this, but of course she has an aluminum camping spoon. They're not a wealthy family. They make do with what they have and cook what they have. It might involve the pet rabbits. So this is what it looks like. I don't know what to do with a spoon like this because you wouldn't really want to use it since it does have that quote in there. It's just more like, I like dark books and dark movies, and you would just like kind of have it creepily propped up because, yeah, you wouldn't want to think about this as being a cannibal spoon. When I first opened this, I was like, okay, that's a weird thing. Maybe there's a reference to Silence of the Lambs. But there is a reference to cannibalism, and it's never like overtly really said. So there's a lot of things that are never really overtly said. Most of the things come out at the end, but, you know, people have their suspicions. So, you know, sort of an innocuous scene. They're just, mama's cooking in the kitchen, and then you're like, oh, what is she cooking? Oh no. All right, and then our final gift that, again, didn't come until all the way towards the end, $2.75. I think the book itself was only like maybe 300 pages, a little over, like 320. All right, so finally, and of course you have to try to read this with like an Appalachian accent, which of course I can't do, but the little bit of the audiobook snippet that I listened to was very good in that way. All right, so gift number 4. Let's see. I'm going to try to read just a little snippet so that it doesn't give away anything for those of you who are going to read this book, which I have to tell you, it's definitely dark. However, there is sort of a mystery element to it, and it did surprise me at the end. There was a moment where I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. So I thought it was a good book, in all honesty, even though it was very dark themes. Very messed up family. They left Rebel and Michael staring at one another, a dead girl between them. Finally, Reb reached into his pocket and slid a folded scrap of paper onto the table along with the keys to the Delta, the 8-ball keychain smacking the tabletop. Your real present from me to you, he said. Happy birthday, baby brother. Reb stepped out of the dining room and Michael was left staring at the keys. It was only after he swept the folded scrap of paper off the table that he realized the Delta was merely a means to get to his gift. So Reb, his brother, I mean, he is so manipulative, and really, like, Michael just feels like he has to do everything that Reb says. I mean, he has to do everything that his mother and father say as well. But like there's this weird brotherly connection between these two that's really sick and terrible. So they're definitely codependent. So here is gift number 4, which is what a lot of the gifts look like this, where they'll be in a box. So, of course, we didn't get the keys to the car. We didn't get the folded up paper, but we got a magic 8-ball keychain, which just seems so appropriate for Reb to have that. And of course, it is an actual magic 8-ball. Let me shake it, and you'll probably get the glare. It's a little old, so, you know, it does say, like, time will tell, like, but it does have the little blue triangle that comes up after you shake it for a while. So I just need to let it, like, sit for a while so it'll actually work. But I did have it working the other day. Let's see if this is, count on it. Okay, let's see if you can see that. It's going to turn it as soon as I hold it up to the light, and you're going to get that ring light reflection. But it is a working magic 8-ball keychain, which absolutely made sense for that scene in the book. So, of course, we got our Coco. We got our little bracelet / hair tie. Probably the hero item for me this time around was this cute little raffia crossbody bag. We got this I don't know what to do with this spoon with a quote from Silence of the Lambs. And then finally we got that, you know, just little whimsical magic 8-ball keychain. The gifts were good for interpreting those passages of the book. None of the gifts for me were like big highlights in terms of like, wow, this is like one of my favorite items I've ever gotten in a box. They were fine. They're like not necessarily like, you know, super high value this time around, but it was really for me the star of the show was the book, was the crazy characters, was the crazy plot twists that I didn't see coming. And if you can stomach some darker reads, I would suggest this. And I would definitely suggest this book subscription for those of you who like your thrillers, like your mysteries, don't mind the occasional horror, a little bit of gore. And that is the case for me. I admit it, I like some of these darker reads quite a bit, and this one was really, really good. So I would love to read something else by Anya Allborn because brother kept me reading for sure. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please help me out by giving it a thumbs up, and I will see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing. For those of you who are just watching to support the channel, thank you so much. It looks like I've just got 6 more of these Down the Rabbit Hole book boxes to get caught up on by the end of the year, and then it'll slow down a little bit in 2023. See you soon.